So we're here today to talk to you about your role in the upcoming film Skylines,
Yes.
where you play Leon. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your character?
Yeah, I play Leon. He's kind of a rough and ready kind of guy. Went off the wrong tracks a few years before we meet him in the movie. He's got a lot of resentment about the death of his sister. He's an angry kid. Well, I'll say kid. I'm lying to myself. I ain't no kid anymore. I'm like in my 30s now. I love to hang on to that. And at the start of the movie, he really resents these pilots, this kind of like this alien forms that are kind of been inhabited by human consciousness. He's got a real distrust of them, and then when he's commissioned of going and finding Rose, who he holds, he's got a reason that he doesn't trust Rose, and that kind of gets developed in the movie. But then as the movie develops, I think Leon's journey is one of acceptance, and he grows, and he understands that that his own weaknesses don't necessarily come from anger. Like he's actually got a love for these aliens, for Rose, and he kind of like learns to forgive himself and forgive certain characters in the movie.
It's interesting you say that because we've seen Rose obviously before, and this is the third film of the franchise. But as far as the singular movie, I really felt like your character had the most growth, and it
Thank you.
actually found it the most interesting, just because of the fact that we're probably reaching the last part of her journey, maybe. But as for you, we really get to see that from the beginning. And I also don't want to give too much away, but you get to see that journey that he takes with her and is able to make changes along the way.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's, thank you for that. I mean, that means a lot, The reason I was attracted to this role was the arc of the character, from the first page I read about him to the last page, like he does grow a lot, and he does, absolutely like learns a lot about himself, and he learns to forgive, and he and he learns to trust again, and and along the way he has to get rid of some old stories he's been telling himself. So thank you for that. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Now, you're not a stranger to doing sci-fi action movies. I know that on your list of notches you have Thor, you have Godzilla. How is Skylines different from things that you've worked on before?
Well, if you're comparing them to Thor and to Godzilla, I mean, the biggest difference is the budget. Like the budget of Skylines is probably a tenth of what those movies were. Thor was a $180 million movie. Godzilla, $160 million movie. This wasn't the budget on Skylines, and I think Liam has done such a great job of you don't really notice that difference. I don't think in the movies you don't see a massive difference in how much money has been pumped into this. And when you think that this is made at like a tenth of the cost of these other big sci-fi movies, I think it's a testament to Liam and the production team, the SFX guys. But for me, what I enjoyed more about doing this movie than doing these big franchises like Godzilla and like the Marvel movies is the freedom. We didn't have a hierarchy of producers going up to Kevin Feige or, of making sure that, every line is said how it's supposed to say. There's a conversation that could be had. There's a real collaboration on this type of movie. This is indie sci-fi filmmaking, It's a rock and roll journey where, you strap yourself in and you have to be all in. And the camaraderie between the team is really there. You don't have these actors that are rushing back to the trailer every time and you don't see them until the next time you're on set. Like, no, we're having dinner together. We're talking about the script, we're talking about the scenes that we're going to be shooting the next day. And that means that there's a closeness between the cast and the crew that sometimes I've, especially like Thor, that was like my first job out of drama school nearly like 7-8 years ago. And so as a green-eyed, fresh-eyed like actor coming out of drama school, suddenly being around these big stars, I was very uncomfortable in my own skin, because I was like, I gave these guys so much respect and I respected them so much. But doing Skylines, it was like, no, like this is my character. I own this guy and I have a director and producers that trust me, and we're going to do this together. So I just say that there's a very long-winded way of saying there's a greater sense of freedom on a movie like Skylines as opposed to these other great big movies.
Well, that's a great answer. I was a big fan myself of sci-fi films and TV series like The Expanse and Alien and other things like that. I know that Liam O'Donnell, your director, who you talked a little bit about, was talking about standing out and making something different. And I really do feel that you guys accomplished that, because at no point was I like, oh, this reminds me of this other movie. I was into this specific story. Can you talk to that testament?
Oh, great! I mean, thank you very much. You're the first interview I've done for this, so like, if
great.
everyone's as positive and complimentary as you, this is going to be an easy day.
I hope so.
Yeah, you know, like, I think the script originally, it definitely changed as we were shooting it, and I think as Liam kind of met the other actors and myself, he kind of got a sense for who we are as people, and we were allowed to kind of lean in towards that. You know, a movie like this, it can come across as cheesy. It can also come across as melodramatic, you know. And we wanted to stay away from both of those things. We wanted to have like a fun feel to it, but we knew we weren't making aliens. You know, we knew that there was going to be some lightness in this, and there's moments of character lightness, you know. So I think we were just trying to stay in our own lane, you know, for this. And Liam is like a massive sci-fi buff as well, and he was always quoting this movie and that movie and this and that. And you know, for me, I just wanted to like kind of respect my character and respect my character's journey, and the rest I just left up to Liam and put my hands into his.
So I want to talk a little bit about your fight scenes, because you got some great action sequences throughout the movie. How much of it was you? How much was it a stunt double? And what were the challenges in shooting those?
Well, I'm very proud to say that I did every single one of my stunts.
Great.
Not a moment in that movie that is not me. I think there might have been one fight scene with Daniel Bernhardt when he kind of throws me, and I was doing a scene with Liam on the first unit, so I think the second unit, that's the one thing where they kind of used his reaction of when he fell. But honestly, apart from that, like, that's me in that, you know, that's all me. So I'm very, very proud of that. Like the last TV show I did was a show called Kingdom. It's on Netflix at the moment. Really, really good TV show. And it's about MMA fighters. My background is martial arts. I've done Muay Thai for 15 years. I've done Jiu-Jitsu for 5 years. I've never got to use my skills on a job. I booked this job, Kingdom, which is about an MMA gym. I'm like, great, finally get to show my stuff. And no, I just play Nick Jonas's boyfriend, and I play a gay assistant in it. So it's like, I don't get to do any fighting in it. So for Skylines, I was thrilled when there was so much action in it, and when the stunt team saw that I could move and I could react and I could pick up the choreography pretty quickly. You know, they let me kind of do my own thing on it.
I was really interested in the aliens because of the fact that I got to screen the film obviously ahead of the interview, but at the end you guys have like a little blooper reel, and you guys used real aliens for the pilots, didn't you?
We did. That's something else that's really fun to play with. You know, going back to that earlier question of the difference between this and, you know, your Marvel movies and your monster movies. This was all you know, stuntmen in stilts. So they're kind of like 8 and 9 foot high. It's really hard for them to walk in. I mean, like, I take my hats off to these guys. Like Jeremy Fitzgerald, who plays Trent, like, did such an amazing job of, you know, having to constantly get up and walk. I'd be complaining about my suit being a little hot. He's in like this rubber latex suit, just like dripping in sweat in the middle of Lithuanian summer. But you know, that makes it so much easier to play with, you know, when you can actually touch the thing, when you've got a human being behind it that can interact with you. You know, I think that's why me and Trent kind of have a relationship, because I had a relationship with the guy behind the mask of Trent, you know.
I thought it was really cool, because I would think that because of the fact that you can see them, you can interact with them, it's better than having to pretend that they're there.
Oh yeah, with like a director on a microphone with a big loudspeaker. It's like, oh no, it's normally like a pretty bored first AD going, okay, and now the monster. Oh, he's scary. Oh, what's he going to do now? And it's like, oh my god, like please, like help me out on this.
Jonathan, thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning, and congratulations on a great film, a lot of fun. And it's gonna, I have not actually seen the previous two ones, but after what you guys did here, I'm gonna go ahead and catch up a little bit.
Emmanuel, no problem. Thank you for being, being so nice and great questions as well.
Thank you so much. That means a lot too. Hope you have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Good luck to you. Merry Christmas and all that. Okay.
All right, thanks, you too.
Bye.